Hello, welcome to DebConf India. Today we have Santiago Ruano Rincón with us. He's been contributing to Salsa continuous integration, and he'll be running this session as a BOF, Birds of a Feather. So, Santiago.
Thank you, Hector. So this is a BOF. It's not a talk. So it's supposed to be an interactive session. I'm not going to talk about Salsa CI because there have been already two talks, one in Curitiba and another one during the COVID pandemic in the DebConf 20. So this is a BOF. For those who doesn't know what Salsa CI is, Salsa is the GitLab implementation of used by Debian, and Salsa CI is an automated framework to build and test the packages when somebody pushes something. So this allows us to test the packages before uploading to the archive. So just as a story, I maintain a package used in every Debian system, and when I started maintaining it, I applied a patch. I don't remember the bug exactly, but I applied the patch, and some hours later, a friend of mine called me and told me that all the machines that the Debian developers were using were not able to boot because I didn't successfully test my package. And this is the kind of things that I wanted to prevent with Salsa CI. Is that clear for those who doesn't know what Salsa CI is? I would like to start saying thanks to Iñaki and Agustin who started this thing. They are less active now, and I hope they will come back soon. So I'm the most active maintainer right now, and thanks a lot to them. And also, I'm very grateful for the hard work that Salsa admins do. We are different teams, and people, the users, doesn't realize that there is a difference. Sometimes we receive, or they receive, reports that something in the pipeline is broken, and sometimes we receive issues that something in the shared runner is not working. But anyway, I say thanks to the Salsa admins, and we try to don't give them too much extra work now. Also, thanks to Enoch Cachada, that is a former teaching intern that is still working on one of our issues. Some news. Thanks to Josh, now we have full support for non-AMD 64 pipelines. Or to be more precise, it is possible now to run IRM 64 pipelines, including all the builds and auto-package tests, and etc. Thanks to Phil Hand's the aptly job that creates a repository to be used by other jobs, now export environment variables, which is really nice because we could use the information for creating a repository as a variable. And I will come back about this later. Also, there is an ongoing discussion about the build package that has to build twice in a row, and Salsa CI now has a job to test that manually. It is not enabled by default, but it makes it possible to test. And I hope we will have soon support for RISC-V. We have access to a board, and as soon as the RISC-V becomes an official architecture by the GitLab runner, I think we will be able to create the build, at least the build jobs on RISC-V. And I'm happy to have hardware support for the other architectures to S390X and IBM Power, which are the other two architectures supported by the GitLab runner. So some priorities that I have and what I look for help. One important thing is to improve our own CI, because when there is a merge request, we run a test pipeline, but it's a very basic thing, and I would like to test most of the features that we have. So to summarize, we need to improve our own CI. There are a couple of issues outstanding. One is because we have restrictions on the limits of the artifacts that goes from one job to another one. And we have some problems with the extra source jobs. That is the first job that's created in the pipeline, which is it's a job who is suboptimal. And there are there are some projects that are not able to use the pipeline because of this. And these issues, another issue to optimize how we build the source, I think can be addressed using isbuild instead of dpkg build package directly. Enoch Cachada is working on this. This is my main priority right now, other than improving the CI. And one cool thing that I believe will be great to include in the pipeline is how to test reverse dependencies. There are already a project that I think is GPSD who do something like this, just to show the result. They build first the common builds on x86, and then they can test most of the, I don't know if all of them or a set of reverse dependencies, which is very cool. These are the build jobs. There is another approach. There is another possible approach that I am testing actually currently. For example, I created this when I was packaging Omni ORB. Sorry, I think I will just Control plus here. So this is the pipeline of Omni ORB. Then there is some red, don't pay attention to that. And I add some 3 child pipelines for the 3 main reverse dependencies. And they are here. Sorry, it's difficult to move the mouse. So this, for example, it passed correctly, the extra source job, the builds, and also autopkg test. So other than testing if the package builds, I'm also testing if the autopkg test works correctly. And some people here in the room knows that I like the autopkg test. One of the reverse dependencies actually depend on the other reverse dependencies. So this is Tango, and the other one is Pipe Tango. And so actually it will be like a 1 and 2 level reverse dependency at the same time. So how to explain that easily? I will need to have the repository available of the first pipeline and the second pipeline available to the third pipeline. That's the limit in child pipeline limits by GitLab. But well, this is another approach to test reverse dependencies. This is something I am currently working on. So there are 2 approaches, and I'm trying to see what works better. And if you're interested, there are more issues to work on. We use the GitLab issues of our project, not a Debian BTS, because the GitLab issues integrates better with GitLab. And thanks Friction, because most of my work now is currently funded by Friction. And thanks the local and the DebConf team. So this was an introduction, and now questions, comments.
Hey, do anything? Hello? Yeah. Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for your work on this. I recently enabled Salsa CI like a few weeks back on my repository, and it just worked. It was like a really great experience. It was like a one-line change, and it took me several days to set up the same thing in GitHub Actions manually. So that's really great that we have that available. And I think the reverse dependency testing will be even better. One thing I was wondering about is how come that the Salsa CI auto package tests run so much faster than DebCI? Because, I mean, it's great that they are so fast, but how come the difference?
I don't know. I mean, I've never compared. We have different infrastructure. I'm not able to tell you. No idea.
At least twice as fast.
Really? I don't know.
You mean if the job starts and ends, or until you get some result? Because the so you get some timestamp in the beginning, timestamp. Okay.
Okay, actually, we try to mimic the CI Debian.net infrastructure, well, at least the configuration. So, but I have no idea.
Yeah, but it's different infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, well, I wanted to comment about using CI testing on the kernel, which I think is missing. We're not doing.
You are doing actually.
Where?
Yes. As far as I remember, is a common pipe. It's a custom pipeline based on this one. So if I remember correctly, it was to work around the limitations with the artifacts. But yeah, there is, at least it's based on Salsa CI. What it could be improved also is to have support for the ARM architectures.
ARM, you mean?
Yep.
But I thought, I checked and I didn't see a pipeline running for the Debian kernel but testing, but I think it would be useful to grow it and have like new merges being tested before they get merged into the kernel, and users to be able to fork and test things there, and test like kernel boots on machines and things like that.
Yeah, but
Not only build, but like doing some more testing.
yeah, for that I suppose that
That would help the kernel team a lot.
okay. If it can be written as an auto-package test, we will need an auto-package test QEMU that we don't have currently because the shared runner doesn't support it. So it will be needed a particular runner for that.
Yeah.
But
so
it's something that could be possible, yeah.
So if it's needed, then we can look adding a new runner.
Okay, cool.
But I think it's valuable to work on this. Sorry.
I'll also echo the thanks on Salsa CI. The reverse dependency thing looked very cool. I'm curious for the auto package test. Is it building a new package based on, like, if it's a, is it building it based on the dependency you just pushed, or is it able to like pull the package from the archive? So like, if you update a library, it'll like test to make sure that you didn't break ABI or something.
We could do both things actually. Just let me, before I forget, to increase this. Yeah. So if this answers your question, support. No, I think this is. Let me check. Well, let's show the green one, the easiest one. The other one was more complex. And this is actually the auto-package test job that run for Omni. I don't remember the name of the package. Where is it? package dependencies. Well, no, this is not true. This package doesn't have test, but to answer the question, we get some packages from the archive, but before that, the most important thing is to get the packages from this, which are the package that just built in the previous pipeline, so in the dependency.
Yeah, I'm actually very new to Salsa. Like I only have like experience running GitLab CI/CD. So in Salsa, like you have like all packaging related testing pipelines or something. Like what different, how different is it from normal GitLab CI/CD? Like do you have your own fork implementation of it?
GitLab CI allows you to do whatever you want. It's like the general, the general reference. And Salsa CI is just a particular framework that we use focused on Debian and Debian packages. So it is used to test how Debian packages build and test them.
So all the dependency testing and everything will be done by Salsa CI. How do you set it up? Like just it'll be like available as a template or like?
There are some templates. There is a framework when you include the YAML files. They include they produce the jobs. And yes, and all the.
So all the security testing and everything else will be done. Like any vulnerability testing is also part of it.
What do you mean by security testing?
Like some packages might be using some older dependency, like dependency vulnerability and stuff.
You can select a release variable to run a pipeline on that release. That is possible. So actually, we produce images, build images for all the releases supported at the moment. So right now, even for stretch, that is no longer supported, but there are images or Buster I list.
So one other question for me. How far are we from pushing a commit, getting all the CI, and auto-uploading the source package to the archive? What's blocking that?
Who did that? Odix did something about that. It's something that will be really cool, and there has been some work to do that. I will need to bring that back.
It's only technical work. It's not that should be doable. Could we have like the signing keys in the runners?
Not in the runners, but I don't remember exactly, so I don't want to say something wrong.
But should be possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
Sorry, can you speak to the?
Yeah. So I was saying, but that will not be a secure method to sign on the pipeline, right?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So before uploading the package, we have to sign the package,
Yeah.
right? That signing process, we cannot keep that on the CA, right? Because if we keep, or like we codify.
I think you can include the signature on the Git commit or something like that, and that will, your private key will remain in your computer, so it's completely secure. Yeah. Agustin wanted to do that, and Odix did it, but it's not integrated.
I have another question. Like, where are we running all these tests? Like, which infrastructure are we running this?
Most of the jobs are run in the shared runner, who is administered by the Salsa admins. And if I'm not wrong, they run on the Google Computer cloud. And the Salsa CI, we have a particular runner that is used for the ARM jobs that everybody can use. If you look for one of your projects and you go to the configuration of the Salsa CI of the CI runners, and you can select to enable that that runner. It's not.
Some comment on that is that Equinix and ARM are supporting this, so thank you, these sponsors.
Just to clarify, if I want to have ARM64 built, I can enable this.
Yep.
Can you give an example of what I need to put in my Salsa YAML file? This is not my question, but this would be interesting. Or do it later. Put it in the Etherpad later, and I will look after when the BoF is over.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, my question is written there because I have written some tool, Routine Update, which is doing, you have a package, and if there's a new version, you just call this script, and it pulls the latest upstream version and does some sensible stuff on your packaging, including linting, brush, and so on. It also checks if there's a Debian Salsa CI YAML file, and if not, it creates one. And there is some user of this tool who don't like it, and I would like to discuss it. What's your preferred way? Because the bug reporter said, well, there is this basic usage of Salsa CI, and it says something else.
If I was to me, I will rephrase this, because I personally prefer the configuration in the file, which will be part of the Git, and you can control better when which is visible too. So if there is any configuration in the CI, in Salsa, it's not visible for the users, it's more difficult to control, so I prefer to use the YAML files. And maybe I will rephrase this
Yeah, this
recommendation.
would be helpful, because I'm personally undecided. On one hand, I want my Debian directory as clean as possible, so only those things that are really needed should be there. So per default, no Debian gbp.conf or something like this. But with the YAML file, we decided that way, and we have in the teams where I'm working, all packages are configured to check for Salsa CI in Debian Salsa YAML file. So I'm not sure what I should do with this bug report. For the moment, I do nothing. Okay, thank you.
Concerning the size limit with the artifacts, in the cloud team, we are producing ISO images with Salsa CI, and we were limited. So I didn't understand what's the reason for the size limit of the artifacts. What technical reasons, or are there other reasons?
Well, this the Salsa admin's domain, so we don't control it. As Salsa CI, we don't control those limits.
Can you imagine what the reason would be?
Yeah, to don't overuse, to don't abuse the infrastructure. And I suppose that's the reason.
Okay. Santiago, you mentioned this test of reverse dependencies. I didn't get it that much. How exactly is this reverse dependency test? You just rebuild them, or you run auto package tests of
both?
Both of them?
But you could do both.
So if, for instance, with update a library, like, for instance, I'm thinking about Ruby right now, I would trigger, can I trigger tests for all those reverse dependencies? Like more than 50, well, I don't know exactly the number. All of them will be re-triggered, like all the reverse dependencies?
This is not currently possible. This is something on progress.
Okay.
And my goal will be to enable this kind of stuff and manually select the reverse dependencies to test, because we also try to avoid abusing the infrastructure. And also, if you pay attention to this one, no, not this one. Just thanks to Phil Hans also, now it's easier to disable all the tests. So for example, here I only enable the builds, disabled all the tests, and just enable the auto-package test. This is in the child pipeline. So I was only interested in the build jobs and in the auto-package test.
I see. Okay.
So if I mention that is to also, I don't need to run all the tests for a reverse dependency. I want to test how it builds and how it runs, and I disable the whole test to don't abuse the infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
Question to abuse the infrastructure. There are some teams where I hear, oh, we do not want to enable Salsa CI for all our packages because it might be too much. It is true currently anymore, or so assume the team has 1,000 packages and you enable them all.
But you will abuse it if you run all the pipelines at the same time.
Okay, no, that will not happen. Okay, yeah. And I know the Java team even makes it hard to enable. You have to enable Salsa CI somewhere and then say where it's so. They make it really hard for people to.
No, I think there was a case when a team enabled and upload all the packages or all the there were a lot of
commit
packages.
all the them automatically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is. They should, if they do these mass commits, they should skip CI or so, something like this.
Yeah.
This would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a question from IRC. Antonio Terceiro asked, how do you pick which reverse dependencies to test, manually or automatically?
As I said, this is work in progress. In my test, I included manually. This is something to be discussed. And this other, I think in GPSD, I don't remember, I think they produce all the reverse dependencies and included in a JSON file. So this is something to be discussed in the working implementation.
Okay. From the infrastructure side, what do you think? Do you think we're good, or do you think we need to have more runners? I mean, you discussed power is missing, S390, but do we need more resources, or are we fine?
Well, it depends. The shared runners are managed by the Salsa admins. So I will ask that question to them. Other architectures, we could support other architectures that will have to be manually enabled for the build jobs will have to be manually enabled, and we as Salsa CI we could manage those Salsa runners, and we need hardware for those architectures. So if you give me some virtual machines for those architectures, I could create support for them, but those builds will have to be manually enabled for every project.
For RISC-V, we could create a virtual machine.
We already have a board, an unmatched board. Yeah.
And it's running as a runner?
Not currently, because we need the process. The RISC-V becomes an official architecture.
It is. It is official.
No, but not by Debian, by GitLab Runner. So GitLab Runner, it supports the 5 architectures. And, well, I'm the... So, yeah.
Yeah. The software needs to support
exactly.
to run
officially.
on RISC-V.
And we need a helper image in the gitlab.org for RISC-V. And
right.
Until then, we cannot support it.
I see.
Simple question about auto-package test. In DebCI, the isolation machine is not available. Is it available in the Salsa CI?
Nope. Nope. We could but we need at least, we need that the shed runner supports it, which is not the case right now. Or you could add your own runner supporting it. But before that, we have to create the AutoPackage test QEMU from the Salsa CI point of view. But that will be something really cool, I think. Yeah. More work to be done.
Some question out of curiosity, maybe I missed it. Are you using caching for the builds?
Yeah.
Okay. So that also accelerates, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just change a metadata file in the end doesn't really do a full rebuild.
The pipeline uses Ccache.
Okay. And then a follow-up question, as you mentioned, RISC-V. Have you opened an issue with GitLab Upstream regarding, I suppose the runner, the GitLab runner daemon service needs to be made officially available by them.
Yeah, that's...
Is there something that Upstream is aware of? It's just a build issue, right? Or is it a technical issue as well? There's some porting effort needed for that. Because
yeah, but
it's a Go application. But
it's an upstream issue, yeah. And as far as I know, they are aware, yeah, I think. Maybe we are talking about different issues. You could show me later if you want.
Okay.
I'm interested.
If there's no issue, then we can create one. So from IRC, comment from Phil that for you devs, he wrote a script that edited the config file settings to point at the default branch to repo config via the API. So no push was required to enable CI, thus avoiding a mass rebuild. And then
okay.
Post a link to the repo.
More questions? Enable source upload to packaged passes. Yeah, there is already work that has been done, and it will be really cool to integrate it. For improving the Debian kernel testing, as I said, we will need to have at least AutoPackage test QEMU, I suppose, or it's something that we can discuss in a custom runner. It will be the easiest way to do it. An example how to enable ARM builds. Let me look for something. Or maybe, Andreas, you could bring your computer, and it will be easier if you have a project, because I have enabled already ARM. As you wish. Just let me check. Okay, so no, actually I can show you. This is in the settings. You go to CI/CD. You go to runners, expand, and you should find these other available runners, and there is the Salsa CI ARM64 runner, and you enable for this project. Then you enable the variable to enable the builds, and you should be able to run the build jobs. Maybe we could document that in the README. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. Do you have questions, comments?
To close the RISC-V topic, there's a merge request pending for upstream GitLab runner on RISC-V support, 1 month old, and some people are testing it already. So if you want to test it, you can possibly already download that stuff and try it out.
Yeah, I have already tested. Okay. Yeah, so the only thing that is missing is a helper image. So actually, GitLab produces some images that are VisiBox, I think, or based on. I don't remember what exactly they are based on, but there is a helper image that is used to create the jobs, and the helper image for RISC-V is missing. So I can imagine that it will be available once the RISC-V becomes an official architecture. And that should happen in October, if I'm not wrong, or something like that. Okay, if there are no more questions or comments.
Is someone here in the room or IRC willing to become developer for Salsa CI? Interested on supporting on some of the topics we discussed, like adding some testing for testing the CI or?
Lock the door until somebody rises his hand.
Well, if you change mind, then reach out
Yeah,
to Santiago.
don't hesitate to contact me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming.